Hello, YouTube besties. I'm sorry it's taken so long for this video to come out. I've had absolutely no plan. Like, that's basically the long and short of it. I've just not really known what to do. So now I have enough stuff to talk about that I can do, a lot of things. Like, I've got my 25 for 25 to talk about, and considering it's only like the 9th or the 10th when I'm filming this, it's completely allowed because we're still like in the beginning of January. I've got some books that I've bought. I've got my library books. I've got book club books. And I've also got some cute little stationery things to show. And I wanted to like show you guys my reading journal and, all that fun booktuber stuff. Also, please ignore the fact that my bed doesn't have a duvet on it. It's really cold suddenly in England, and we've been sleeping in the living room because it's cold, and I hate sleeping here when it's cold. So without further ado, let's dive into the 25 for 25, shall we? Right, I will let you guys know now that the ones I didn't have physically, I did start like writing out the synopsis and stuff on paper because unfortunately I have to use my phone to record, so I can't just like Google or like Goodreads the options. And then I got bored of that, so I used my cute little thermal printer to just print off all of the synopsis from Goodreads, and we're doing it that way now. So, you're welcome, I guess. Like, that's all I really have to say. So I'm going to go in order of how I've written them down. This is in no way reflective of the order I actually want to read them in. This is just how it came up, essentially. So the first one is one I do not have physically, and that is A Little Life by Hanya Yangihara. I really, really hope that I have not butchered that name, and if I have, I apologise. For anyone who hasn't had the synopsis of A Little Life, it is: when four classmates from a small Massachusetts college moved to New York to make their way, they're broke, adrift, and buoyed only by their friendship and ambition. There is kind, handsome Willem, an aspiring actor; JB, a quick-witted, sometimes cruel Brooklyn-born painter seeking entry into the art world; Malcolm, a frustrated architect at a prominent firm; and withdrawn, brilliant, enigmatic Jude, who serves as their centre of gravity. Over the decades, their relationships deepen and darken, tinged by addiction, success, and pride. Yet their greatest challenge, each comes to realise, is Jude himself, by midlife a terrifyingly talented litigator, yet an increasingly broken man. His mind and body scarred by an unspeakable childhood and haunted by what he fears is a degree of trauma that he will never, not only be unable to overcome, but that will define his life forever. Right. First of all, we know from last time that like I got better at reading synopsis like as the video went on, so let's just remember that. So I obviously this has been one that so many YouTubers have talked about. It's been all over Bookstagram and everything like that. I know it's queer, which is a big pull for me, and I also know that obviously it says in there that but it deals with like trauma and stuff like that, and I love stories that tackle things that are realistic. Like, you'll probably see from the books that I have, I'm not a huge fan of romance and happily ever after and stuff without a struggle. Like, I like my fiction to be realistic, and I love reading stories about people who have struggled, who are struggling and overcoming or not overcoming. Like, I'm just very excited. I know it's really sad. That's literally, it's queer, it's sad. That's literally all I've known about it. So that'll be a good time. The second on the list is The Complete Poems of Walt Whitman. Anyone who knows me knows that I am obsessed with Dead Poet Society. It is one of my favourite films of all time, not just because of Robin, but also because, I'm a writer, I'm a poet, and I don't know, there's just something about that movie. Like, we all relate to Neil Perry or Todd Anderson a little bit too hard, let's be honest. But I have definitely been reading more poetry in the last kind of 6 months. Oh, also, if you haven't seen it, that's actually my Oh Captain, My Captain tattoo, my Carpe Diem Dead Poet Society tattoo. But yeah, so I want to read the complete poems of Walt Whitman. I have a couple of poetry books, I think, in here that are like honorable mentions and stuff. So I don't really feel that I need to explain the complete poems of Walt Whitman. I feel it's pretty self-explanatory. Um, the next book on my list is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. Now, this one is because of Jack Edwards. I watched one of his videos where he read it, and then another one with another YouTuber whose name has escaped my brain, and I feel really awful because she's a really big YouTuber. But her partner picked books for her to read, and Pachinko was on there. And just from the description, it sounded so stunning. And I want to read more translated fiction and stuff this year, so that was another reason why. But the synopsis is: in the early 1900s, teenage Sunja, the adored daughter of a crippled fisherman, falls for a wealthy stranger at the seashore near her home in Korea. He promises her the world, but when she discovers she's pregnant and that her lover is married, she refuses to be bought. Instead, she accepts an offer of marriage from a gentle, sickly minister passing through on his way to Japan. But her decision to abandon her home and to reject her son's powerful father sets off a dramatic saga that will echo down through generations. Now, from what I know about this, it's multi-generational. And I love multi-generational stories. So I'm very excited for that one. Again, I know it's quite sad. And I mean, I love it. I'm a sad bitch as it is. So, you know, like, why not make myself sadder? So there is that one. Oh, okay. So now we're getting into like my receipt list of synopses. The only reason I did it like this is because a lot of these synopses were really long and I write in cursive and I just couldn't be bothered, if I'm really honest. like that's like been my vibe since New Year, is that I just can't be asked. And I feel like that's totally valid. And if everyone else feels like they can't be asked as well, good for you. We're also doing this in jammies because, again, I don't care. So, right, next on the list is The Will of the Many by James Islington. Many of you have heard of this. Many of you have read this. I got it. I was very intrigued by it. Oh, my brain's not working today. The synopsis, this little guy here, reads: Audi Vidi Taci. The Catalan Republic, the hierarchy, may rule the world now, but they do not know everything. I tell them my name is Vis Telemus. I tell them I was orphaned after a tragic accident 3 years ago and that good fortune alone has led to my acceptance into their most prestigious school. I tell them that once I graduate, I will gladly join the rest of civilized society, allowing my strength, my drive, and my focus, what they call will, to be leached away and added to the power of those above me, as millions already do, all must eventually do. I tell them that I belong and they believe me. But the truth is I've been sent to the academy to find answers, to solve a murder, to search for an ancient weapon, to uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart. And that I will never, ever cede my will to the empire that executed my family. To survive, though, I will have to rise through the academy ranks. I will have to smile and make friends and pretend to be one of them and win. Because if I cannot, then those who want control of me, who know my real name, will no longer have any use for me. And if the hierarchy finds out who I truly am, they will kill me. And I mean, if that just like doesn't sound really dramatic, then I mean, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, I love a dramatic book. Just sounds really interesting. The next one is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. And I do have that. I just forgot to get it. And I don't know where it is. There are many book boxes and I've no idea where I put it. I'm going to have to find a synopsis for that and I will put it on the right of the screen. But my partner loves the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy, and we watched the movie a couple of years ago and I adored it. So I was very interested to kind of read the books. I did start it last year, but I just could not get into it at all. I don't know what it was about it, but it was a soft DNF last year. I knew I was going to come back to it because it did sound really, really good. The movie was great. So yeah, that's definitely what I'm coming back to. Whether or not I will get through it, who knows, but it is on the list. So now we have the first of our physical books, which I'm very excited about, and that is Medea by Rose Hewlett. First of all, look how absolutely gorgeous this book is. I don't think it has a inside cover. No, it's just black on the inside. This was my first ever like cute hardback that I bought from Waterstones. And yeah, it's based on Greek mythology. I'm a big fan of Greek mythology retellings. I want to read the Medusa one. I read Song of Achilles, which broke my heart. I can't talk about it without getting emotional. Like, I want to attempt to read the Odyssey at some point. I tried last year, and good lord, it was difficult. So, but Medea, the synopsis is: shunned, persecuted, tormented. Medea possesses a mysterious and powerful gift at the hands of her tyrant father. This gift is exploited and used to defend the enchanted golden fleece that protects their land. When the dashing leader of the Argonauts, Jason, arrives to fight for the fleece, Medea sees her chance to escape. She offers to help Jason defeat her father if he will ensure her freedom. Much to her surprise, he accepts. Together they will obtain the fleece and build an empire. Their pact sets in motion a journey that will see Medea fall in love, battle monsters, dethrone kings, and claim her power. But when faced with the ultimate betrayal, Medea is driven to an act of desperation so brutal it rips apart the lives of everyone involved. So, I don't know a lot about the Jason and the Argonauts tale. I don't know a lot about Medea. However, tell me that does not just scream like powerful woman. That just screams like, you know, I'm gonna mesh stuff up. But yeah, I saw, honestly, it was the cover that sold me. Like, I'm a very basic bitch. Like, you show me a pretty cover and I'll buy it. Like, we're all guilty of it on BookTube and Bookstagram. We see pretty books, we'll buy them. Like, that's how they get us. However, I'm very excited for that. I've never read anything from Rosie Hewlett, so very excited to be getting that. Should we count how many times I say excited in this video? Like, last time it was fascinating. Like, we'll start a we'll start a little counter or something. So I'm very excited to read so many books. So the next one on my list is one I've actually got out from the library at the moment, and that is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. And this is actually the first M.L. Wang on my 25 for 25. This book I saw on my friend Tyrone Reed's YouTube video, and I've mentioned him in the past. I'll leave his YouTube down below. And this just sounded so good. Like, the synopsis reads, the first woman ever admitted to prestigious order of mages unravels a secret conspiracy that could change the practice of magic forever in the standalone dark fantasy from the author of The Sword of Kaigan, which is also on my 25 for 25. For 20 years, Siona has devoted every waking moment to the study of magic, fueled by a mad desire to achieve the impossible, to be the first woman ever admitted to the High Magistry of the University of Magics and Industry. When Siona finally passes the qualifying exam and becomes a High Mage, she finds her challenges have just begun. Her new colleagues are determined to make her feel unwelcome, and instead of a qualified lab assistant, they give her a janitor. What neither Siona nor her peers realise is that her taciturn assistant was not always a janitor. 10 years ago, he was a nomadic hunter who lost his family on the perilous journey from the wild plains to the city. But now he sees the opportunity to understand the forces that decimated his tribe, drove him from his homeland, and keep the privileged in power. At first, mage and outsider have a fractious relationship, but working together they uncover an ancient secret that would change the course of magic forever if it doesn't get them killed first. And oh my goodness, if anyone has read the Trudy Canavan series, it's so famous, and my brain's just like, it's not The Magician's Apprentice. It might be The Magician's Apprentice. I'll put it up on the screen. But I read that when I was like in my early 20s. And the minute I heard the synopsis for The Blood Over Brighthaven, I was like, that's giving very similar vibes. So that is one that I am hopefully going to read by the end of this month, or at least by next month, because the beauty of library books is you can renew them. So that is one that is quite high on my list. I've got a couple of book club reads at the minute that I'm trying to get through, and I want to try and read another no, we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I've got a couple of book reads that book club reads that I'm doing, and once I've done those, I can kind of get back onto reading just what I want to. So that's definitely one of my first for the 25 for 25, because it just sounds so good. Sounds so good. And I'm so curious about Emma Wang's writing, because so many people have said such good things about the Sword of Kaigan and Blood over Brighthaven that I'm very curious. Like, it sounds like the kind of story that I'd really enjoy. Also, if you see me keep looking down, it's because like my journal's there and it's got everything written on it. So yes. The next book on my list is the first classic, actually, and that is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I feel like I don't really need to go into what Frankenstein's about. Do you know what I mean? It's a classic for a reason. Like, you know, dude digs up corpses and makes himself a person, and the person has a breakdown. And I feel that's just really relatable. I feel like we can all relate to Frankenstein's monster a little bit, because, you know, sometimes life just gets hard. And you feel you don't know who you are. And, you know, you feel like you're just made up of bits and pieces of... No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I want to read Frankenstein. I'm probably going to leave Frankenstein until kind of October time, for obviously not just for like spooky season reading, but I feel like it's going to be kind of like more atmospheric and more fun to read in the autumn months. So we're going to do that. I hope you enjoyed that slurp. And also I feel like we need to have a counter for how many times I say Okay, so the next one on my list is one I don't have, and that is Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson, my apologies. This is one that everyone was talking about, and honestly, I heard it was horror and I heard it was sapphic, and that was all I needed to know. The synopsis reads as thus. Rosemary meets Ash at the farmer's market. Ash, precise, pretty, and practically perfect, like Mary Poppins, sells bars of soap in delicate pastel colours, sprinkles spackled cupcakes stacked on scalloped stands, beeswax candles, jelly jars, and honey, and glossy green plants. Ro has never felt this way about another woman. Honestly, like, the author is giving me a hard time with this synopsis. Ro has never felt this way about another woman. With Ash, she wants to be her and have her in equal measure, but as her obsession on Ash consumes her, she may find she's not the one doing the devouring. I went on such a horror kick in the last month and a half, and this is one that's been on my radar for a very long time. And again, it's sapphic, it's horror. Like, I know it's quite short as well, so I'm very excited to get... Oh, there we go, there's another excited. Next book is another kind of booktube darling, book talk darling, and that is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. It is very shiny, so I'm sorry about that. I love, ever since I was very young, and I think this is because, partly because I have Irish heritage, I have loved fairy tales. I've loved stories about the Fae and anything like that. So the minute I heard about this, I knew I had to get it. And I know that there's 3 of them now, or there's going to be 3 of them. So I'm very excited to start this. The synopsis reads, Emily Wilde is good at many things. She is a genius scholar and a meticulous researcher who is writing the world's first encyclopedia of fairy lore. But Emily Wilde is not good at people. So relatable. So when she arrives in the hardscrabble village of Hraftsvik, we'll pretend I said that right, Emily has no intention of befriending the gruff townsfolk, nor does she care to spend time with another new arrival, her insufferably dashing rival, Wendell Bamblebee. Do you know what? I said earlier that I was going to get better at this as the video went on. I'm very clearly not, so sorry about that. But as Emily gets closer to uncovering the secrets of the hidden ones, the most elusive of all the fairies, she also finds herself on the trail of another mystery. Who is Wendell Bamblebee, and what does he really want? To find the answer, she will have to unlock the greatest mystery of all, her own heart. So it's obviously going to be a little romance. The name Wendell Bamblebee immediately makes me think he's a fairy, because honestly, Just call yourself like Puck or Robin Goodfellow at that point. Do you know what I mean? Also, this is by Heather Fawcett. I didn't actually say who it was by when I was talking about it, so I apologise. But yeah, we're getting into that one at some point. It's very short. I will probably finish it quite quickly. The next book is one I'm currently reading, and that is The Gathering Storm by Robert Jordan. It is the 12th Wheel of Time book. You guys. So, I am currently on chapter 5, okay? So, the story's fine. Like, it reads like The Wheel of Time. However, this is the first book that was released after Robert Jordan died, where Brandon Sanderson took over kind of writing and compiling everything. And that in itself would be fine. However, if you follow me on Instagram and stuff, you know for a fact that I'm really struggling with how different their writing styles are. It's very jarring. Like, Robert Jordan is known for these really long, continuing, flowing sentences. Like, there's so many semicolons and, you know, like commas and etc etc. Like, he's had whole paragraphs that were one sentence before. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just how Robert rolled. Brandon Sanderson writes in very short sentences, very short, sharp sentences, and sometimes I feel like it takes you out of the story a little bit. So I don't know, but like there's been a lot of humor and stuff in it that has really made me laugh so far, especially reading the parts about the ale. Obviously, I can't go into what this is about because if you haven't read it, it's the 12th book in a series. Not a lot of this is going to make sense to you. I mean, bad shit's happening, but I mean, it's a fantasy book. What do you expect? So I knew going into this that obviously it was going to be different to the rest of the Wheel of Time books that I have read. I've probably mentioned it before, but the Wheel of Time series is my partner's favourite book series of all time. And that's why I've been reading it for the last 3 years. So I have 2 books to read after this one, and then I am done. I'm done with the series, and that is honestly one of the only reasons that I'm keeping going right now, because I need to know how this story ends. But my partner told me that obviously this one and the next 2, they're very different to what we've been used to from Robert Jordan. So I'm definitely going into it with a grain of salt. I'm going into it knowing that it's not going to be like the last 11 books, and that's fine. Like, I'm sure that if this was a Brandon Sanderson novel, it would be fine. But obviously I have such a high expectation for these books now, and for the writing and for the world that Robert created. And I'm a bit nervous because right now I'm finding it really hard to immerse myself. Like, it will take me maybe like a chapter to really get into the writing style. Like, I have to kind of like continuously read this, but because of the writing, I don't want to continuously read this. So I'm struggling right now. I'm going to finish it, like I said. It will probably be like a 3 or 4 star, depending how the story goes. Like, I'm literally like that far through. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've read nothing so far. So we'll see. Like, Brandon Sanderson is an author that everyone raves about, like, especially the fantasy community, because obviously he's one of the biggest around now. Like, you know, Tolkien walked so that Robert Jordan could run, and then Robert Jordan walked so that Brandon Sanderson could run. And I think I've just gotten too used to Robert Jordan. Like, the man was a genius. He was a magician of his craft, and I'm sad. Like, obviously him dying isn't something that anyone can be faulted for. And he left enough instruction and enough notes and everything for Brandon to be able to just finish the series for him, along with the help of Robert's wife, who was also his editor, which I loved. So we're going to keep going. I'm sure I'll love it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so immersed in this. I'm 11 books in. Do you know what I mean? I'm 11 books deep. I love these characters. I want to know what happens. I just need to get used to the writing style. But yes, The Gathering Storm by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, one of my current reads, and also one of my 25/25. That was a really long ramble. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the next book is another one that pretty much everyone's read. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. It's the first in a duology, and it just sounds really interesting. Like, it's really dark fantasy, and I know that there's like tarot cards like involved, and it just, it piqued my interest. So the synopsis reads: Elspeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mist-locked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient, mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her. He keeps her secrets. But nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, her life takes a drastic turn. Thrust into a world of shadow and deception, she joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder from the dark magic infecting it. And the highwayman, he just so happens to be the king's nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in Blunder, and guilty of high treason. Together, they must gather 12 Providence cards, which is where the tarot card kind of aspect comes into it, the keys to the cure. But as the stakes heighten and their undeniable attraction intensifies, Elspeth is forced to face her darkest secret yet. The nightmare is slowly taking over her mind, and she might not be able to stop him. So, butchered that, first of all. So I don't normally go... I don't know if this is classed as romantasy or anything, but I normally tend to stay away from stories that are really heavy on it. Like, one of my book club reads is a romantasy, I think, and I'm really not enjoying it. I really don't think romantasy is the genre for me. I like stories, like, if there is romance involved in a story, absolutely fine. Like, if it's relevant to the story, I love that. But, like, I don't know, like, I'm like... That's my biggest worry with some of these, is that it's going to be a case of the romance is really heavy. However, the fantasy elements and the actual, just the general story is actually very, very interesting to me. So, that's on the list. Like, that's all there really is to say about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone else liked it, so I want to see if I like it. I turned off my little lights because I didn't really need them, and they were just reflecting in my glasses for the last half hour, which has been really irritating. So, yes, my next book is one that... So, this is one I've not read, and it's one that everyone's read. Do you know what I mean? Like if you watched my my best books of the year and my flops of the year, you would know that I read my first on a tart last year. I read The Little Friend, and I've been putting The Secret History off because if you are a Tumblr girly or boy or them, you know that the dark academia community will not shut up about The Secret History if we were villains, etc, etc. So it put me off a little bit reading it. However, I have, like, after reading The Little Friend, I want to read this so bad. Just because I love her writing so much. I think she's so brilliantly talented, and because she's not actually written that much, I want to kind of just devour everything that she has. Like, I've got The Goldfinch in a box somewhere. So I know most of you probably already know the synopsis, but it reads, truly deserving... Oh, that's just the praise. So the synopsis reads, under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of mortal morality, their lives are changed profoundly and forever. I know there's a murder, and I know that they're all theatre kids or something, and I just, they're going to be pretentious, and I'm going to love every second of it. So, Secret History by Donna Tartt. Don't really feel like there's much more needs to be said about that. Second classic on my list is The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. You've probably figured out, but I'm a theatre kid. I love musical theatre. The Phantom of the Opera is one of my favourites. I will stand firm for the movie musical that has Emmy Rossum in it, and I can't remember the actor's name. I think it's Jared something. Probably isn't. But either way, I will stand firm that was a good movie. However, no one in my heart will beat Ramin Karimloo and Sierra Burgess. Oh, so now, yeah. So essentially, what it comes down to is that I want to read the book because I know the musical like the back of my hand. So yeah, that's that one. My third classic is another Bronte. It's Emily Bronte this time, and it is Wuthering Heights. Also, I just kind of wanted to show off this copy that I got from a charity shop. Like, it's just so pretty. Like, it's about Heathcliff and Kathy, and I know they're both terrible people. And the only, honestly, a big reason I'm reading this is because one, it's a Bronte, and two, it's it reminds me of Kate Bush, who I love. Anyone who can make is it Noel Fielding? Yeah, anyone who can make Noel Fielding dress up like that and dance around like that in front of hundreds of people, iconic. Insert clip here. But yeah, so Wuthering Heights is on there. Again, I don't really feel like I need to explain a lot of the classics. Everyone knows the stories. So Wuthering Heights. So this next one is probably one of my favourite books I've ever bought, along with my Robin Williams biography. Not many of you who know me know that I am a huge Stevie Nicks fan. I am probably a Stevie Nicks fan before I'm a Fleetwood Mac fan, in all honesty. So when I found out that her biography was being released, like by Simon Morrison, Mirror in the Sky, The Life and Music of Stevie Nicks, there was no way that I wasn't getting it. Like, it's like there's look, it's Stevie. It's Stevie. I love Stevie Nicks. She's one of my idols. I just think she's brilliant, and I want to know more about her life. So yeah, I feel that's what do you say about a memoir? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's about someone's life. It's about the life of Stevie Nicks. So I'm so excited to read that. It's really, really short. So I'm hoping I'll get through that a little bit quicker than I did Robin's biography, which took me months because I'm really bad at reading nonfiction. So pretty much everything that is left now, bar one book, is I'm going to have to buy either on my Kindle or I'm going to have to borrow from the library. So the first one, this one actually got changed because initially this was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. But if you watched my last video, you will know that obviously I'm not finishing any of her books. I'm not supporting her anymore. If you need to know why, please go watch the other video. So I changed that out for The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. So this is one that a lot of people talked about on BookTube this year, and I was so curious, like, partly because, you know, I'm a writer, I love books about writing and writers, etc., but it's also a thriller, and thrillers are something I really got into last year. Thank you, Lisa Jewell. And the synopsis for this one is we're back onto like my massive receipt papers now. The synopsis reads, a young author is invited to an exclusive writer's retreat that soon descends into a pulse-pounding nightmare. Alex has all but given up on her dreams of becoming a published author when she receives a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Attend an exclusive month-long writing retreat at the estate of feminist horror writer Rosa Vallow. Even the knowledge that Ren, her former best friend and current rival, is attending doesn't dampen her excitement. But when the attendees arrive, Rosa drops a bombshell. They must all complete an entire novel from scratch during the next month, and the author of the best one will receive a life-changing 7-figure publishing deal. Determined to win the seemingly impossible contest, Alex buckles down and tries to ignore the strange happenings on the estate, including Rosa's erratic behaviour, Ren's cruel mind games, and all the alleged haunting of the mansion itself. But when one of the writers vanishes during a snowstorm, Alex realises that something very sinister is afoot. With the clock running out, she must discover the truth or suffer the same fate. Does that not just sound so intriguing? Like, also, good luck trying to write an entire novel in a month, like, without having to like edit, like, and everything, with edits, like, with trying to do, like, good luck, sis. Like, for a 7-figure deal, I could probably try, but it would be garbage. Anyway, but yeah, I'm very excited to read that one. I'm just intrigued. Like, I love I like mysterious thrillers and horrors. So that one is on my list, which is exciting. The next one is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. And let me tell you, it was the cover. Like, I'll be completely straight up. It was the cover, and it was gay. And again, I'm a simple bitch. If it's gay and if it's pretty, I'll buy it. You know, like that's just how it is. So the synopsis for this is: once upon a time, Andrew had cut out his heart and given it to this boy, and he was very sure Thomas had no idea that Andrew would do anything for him, protect him, lie for him, kill for him. High school senior Andrew Parole finds refuge in the twisted fairy tales that he writes for the only person who can ground him to reality, Thomas Rye, the boy with perpetually ink-stained hands and hair like autumn leaves, and with his twin sister, Dove, inexplicably keeping him at a cold distance upon their return to Wickwood Academy. Andrew finds himself leaning on his friend even more. But something strange is going on with Thomas. His abusive parents have mysteriously vanished, and when he arrives at school with blood on his sleeve, Thomas won't say a word about it and shuts down whenever with blood on his sleeve. Thomas won't say a word about it and shuts down whenever Andrew tries to ask him questions. Stranger still, Thomas is haunted by something, and he seems to have lost interest in his artwork. Whimsically macabre sketches of the monsters from Andrew's wicked stories. Desperate to figure out what's wrong with his friend, Andrew follows Thomas into the off-limits forest one night and catches him fighting a nightmarish monster. Thomas's drawings have come to life and are killing anyone close to him. To make sure that no one else dies, the boys battle the monsters every night, but as their obsession with each other grows stronger, so do the monsters, and Andrew begins to fear that the only way to stop the creatures might be to destroy their creator. This got rave reviews. I know that everyone who has read it so far gave it 5 stars. And like, when everyone's giving it 5 stars, like, I don't know, like, that says something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love the horror aspect of it. I love the gayness of it. I like the dark fantasy of it. So it ticks kind of every box for me. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. My last physical book that I have is Shogun by James Clavell. This is because I watched the bloody show, right? I watched the show and it was brilliant. And I didn't realise that it was based on a set of books. And there are 5 in the series, I think. Okay, right, let's do the synopsis first. Right. The epic saga of pilot Major John Blackthorne, who is shipwrecked on Japan, the most alien of shores. The novel charts Blackthorne's rise from the status of reviled foreigner up to the heights of trusted advisor and eventually samurai, as civil war is looming over the fragile country. So this is set around the Elizabethan era, I believe, in England, when the Portuguese and the Dutch and the English were all sort of discovering Japan. And it's based kind of around that and what happens, the politics and everything like that. So I'm very excited to read this. However, it is a brick. It's giving Les Mis, it's giving War and Peace. Like, I'm terrified to read this, if I'm 100% honest. And like, look how little the writing is. Like, I'm gonna die. Like, this will probably be one that I have to read in parts, unless it really grips me. I'm gonna have to like read stuff in between it, because there is not a chance I'm gonna be able to read that in one sitting. I just can't do it. Like, I will concede right now. I will admit defeat. No. I think it's like 1,300 pages or something. Like, it's absolutely mental. Let's see. And like, this shouldn't bother me as much as it does. I've read The Wheel of Time. Do you know what I mean? And they're long ass books, like 1,123 pages. We'll do it, hopefully. But I'm scared. However, if I can read like 11 of the Wheel of Time books, I can read Shogun. Do you know what I mean? There's only 5 of them. So if they're all that size, they probably equate to like 14 books of a series. So yay, exciting. My next book that I'm reading off of my receipts is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And this is one that I know has been out for a very long time. But it is one I have just not gotten around to reading, if I'm really honest. Like, it's again piqued my interest. I've just never gotten around to it. And this feels like the year that I want to. So it reads: an isolated mansion, a chillingly charismatic aristocrat, and a brave socialite drawn to expose their treacherous secrets. After receiving a frantic letter from her newlywed cousin begging for someone to save her from a mysterious doom, Naomi Tobada heads to High Place, a distant house in Mexican countryside. She's not sure what she will find. Her cousin's husband, a handsome Englishman, is a stranger, and Naomi knows little about the region. Naomi is an unlikely rescuer. She's a glamorous debutante, and her chic gowns and perfect red lipstick are more suited for cocktail parties than amateur sleuthing. But she's also tough and smart, with an indomitable will, and she is not afraid. Not of her cousin's new husband, who is both menacing and alluring, not of his father, the ancient patriarch who seems to be fascinated by Naomi, and not even the house itself, which begins to invade Naomi's dreams with visions of blood and doom. Her only ally in this inhospitable abode is the family's youngest son. Shy and gentle, he seems to want to help Naomi, but it might be hiding dark knowledge of his family's past, for there are many secrets behind the walls of High Place. The family's once colossal wealth and faded mining empire kept them from prying eyes, but as Naomi digs deeper, she unearths a story of violence and madness, and Naomi, mesmerized by the terrifying yet seductive world of High Place, may soon find it impossible to even leave this enigmatic house behind. You will notice a theme with a lot of the kind of like horror, like mystery books that I read. They're all very kind of like based on how like families having secrets and stuff like that. And that to me, it sounds like with a synopsis like that, it to me screams it's a very well thought out story. And I'm very excited to read that one. Because I know that that's had really, really good reviews as well. So Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. The next book is The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. And honestly, again, this was a cover one. Like, the cover's so cute, as I'm sure you will see, because I'm sure I'll put it up as I have with the rest of them that I don't have. And the synopsis reads: the Honey Witch of Innisfree can never find true love. That is her curse to bear. But when a young woman who doesn't believe in magic arrives on her island, sparks fly in this deliciously sweet debut novel of magic, hope, and love overcoming all. So it's gay as well, which, you know, check. 21-year-old Marigold Claude has always preferred the company of the spirits of the meadow to any suitors who have tried to woo her. So when her grandmother whisks her away to the family cottage on the tiny isle of Innisfree, with an offer to train her to be the next Honey Witch, she accepts immediately, but her newfound magic and independence come with a price. No one can fall in love with the Honey Witch. When Lottie Beck, a notoriously grumpy skeptic who doesn't believe in magic, shows up on her doorstep, Marigold can't resist the challenge to prove to her that magic is real. But soon, Marigold begins to care for Lottie in ways she never expected, and when darker magic awakens and threatens to destroy her home, she must fight for much more than her new home at the risk of losing her magic and her heart. So it's Grumpy Sunshine, it's sapphic, it's magic. Let's go. The next book is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Now, I actually wanted to read, I heard about the second book in this series from Shawnaci in one of her reviews last year before I'd heard of the first book. So obviously I want to read the first book before I read the second. And the synopsis for this is, on the day the government decrees that women... Oh no, that's the wrong one. Don't worry, ignore that one. Ignore that one. I put them in the wrong order. Well, that's embarrassing. Do Before I Let Go first. Their love was supposed to last forever, but when life delivered blow after devastating blow, Yasmin and Josiah Wade found that love alone couldn't solve or save everything. It couldn't save their marriage. Yasmin wasn't prepared for how her life fell apart, but she's finally starting to find joy again. She and Josiah have found new rhythm, co-parenting their 2 kids and running a thriving business together. Yet like magnets, they're always drawn back to each other, and now they're beginning to wonder if they're truly ready to let go of everything they have once had. Soon, one stolen kiss leads to another and then more. It's hot, it's illicit, it's all good until old wounds reopen. Is it too late for them to find forever? Or could they even be better the second time round? So again, I'm not a huge fan of romance or spice, but this I don't know, like, I really like the sound of Kennedy Ryan's writing. So I want to give her a go. It might be a DNF, it might be one that I don't continue. However, I want to give it a chance, and I need to stop not reading books just because they have romance incorporated in the story as like a main plot device. So yeah, that is Before I Let Go. The next one, which is the one I was actually supposed to read before the last one, is Vox by Christina Doucher. And this was recommended to me by an old friend of mine who we talked about books a lot, and I was saying how I really enjoyed like dystopia and stuff like that, and she suggested Vox, and it sounded so fascinating. Oh, there we go, that's fascinating. Set in America, where half the population has been silenced, Vox is the harrowing, unforgettable story of what one woman would do to protect herself and her daughter. On the day the government decrees that women are no longer allowed to speak more than 100 words daily, Dr. Jean McClellan is in denial. This can't happen here. Not America, not to her. This is just the beginning. Soon women can no longer hold jobs. Girls are no longer taught to read or write. Females no longer have a voice. Before, the average person spoke 16,000 words a day, but now women only have 100 to make themselves heard. But this is not the end. For herself, her daughter, and every woman silenced, Jean will reclaim her voice. And frankly, I love a story about a woman who says, the patriarchy, like, and with everything that has currently happened in America, it's one of those, like, a lot of these stories now are starting to feel a little bit more factual than fiction. Like I read, Vox sounds incredible. Christina Doucher, I know, is quite a well-respected writer, so yeah, let's go. Okay, so next we're on to The Sword of Kaigan by Emma Wang, and it is it's a high fantasy, I believe, and oh god, it just sounds so beautiful. It's another kind of like generational storytelling, and the synopsis reads: a mother struggling to repress her violent past, a son struggling to grasp his violent future, a father blind to the danger that threatens them all. When the winds of war reach their peninsula, will the Matsuda family have the strength to defend their empire, or will they tear each other apart before the true enemies even reach their shores? High on a mountainside at the edge of the Kaganese Empire live the powerful warriors live the most powerful warriors in the world, superhumans capable of raising the sea and wielding blades of ice. For hundreds of years, the fighters of the Kusanagi Peninsula, I'm butchering this, I'm so sorry, Peninsula have held the Empire's enemies at bay, earning their frozen spit of land the name the Sword of Kaigan. Born into Kusanagi's legendary Matsuda family, 14-year-old Mamoru has always known his purpose: to master his family's fighting techniques and defend his homeland. But when an outsider arrives and pulls back the curtain on Kaigan's alleged age of peace, Mamoru realizes that he might not have much time before to become the fighter he was bred to be. Worse, the empire he was bred to defend may stand on the foundation of lies. Misaki told herself that she left the passions of her youth behind when she married into the Matsuda house. Determined to be a good housewife and mother, she hid away her sword, along with everything from her days as a fighter, in a faraway country. But with her growing son asking questions about the outside world, the threat of an impending invasion looming across the sea, and her frigid husband grating on her nerves, Misaki finds the fighter in her clawing its way back to the surface. I struggle with that one. So I, obviously you can probably tell, I've gotten really interested in Asian fiction, especially Asian historical fiction. With Shogun, I've bought a lot of different Asian like historical fictions in the last year, and I am so enamored with their culture. I think I said this on one of my last videos. I'm so enamored by Japanese culture and their history and everything. So honestly, I think that's a really big pull for me for this. So I'm so excited to be reading The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wang. The very last book on my 25 for 25, you're like, yes, that is actually all of them. It took me 51 minutes to get to this point. So, you know, good luck with the watching, because I still got more stuff to say. The last book on my 25 for 25 is I Know Where the Cage Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. And Maya Angelou is a woman that I have so much love and respect for. Her poetry is stunning. She as a person is such an iconic figure. And the I Know Where the Cage Bird Sings is her memoir. So yeah, I love memoirs because it helps me know more about the people that I have so much love and respect for. The synopsis reads, here is a book as joyous and painful, as mysterious and memorable as childhood itself. I Know Where the Cage Bird Sing captures the longing of lonely children, the brute insult of bigotry, and the wonder of words that can make the world right. Maya Angelou's debut memoir is a modern American classic beloved worldwide. Sent by their mother to live with the devout, self-sufficient grandmother in a small southern town, Maya and her brother Bailey endure the ache of abandonment and prejudice at the local Pow White Trash. At 8 years old and back at her mother's side in St. Louis, Maya is attacked by a man many times her age and has to live with the consequences for a lifetime. Years later in San Francisco, Maya learns to love for herself, the kindness of others, and her own strong spirit and the ideas of great authors. I met and fell in love with William Shakespeare. Will allow her to be free instead of imprisoned. Again, it just sounds stunning. Do you know what I mean? And again, Maya Angelou is such a fantastic author, like with her poetry and everything. So her memoir sounds just as stunning. So with that is the end of my 25 for 25. I'm very sorry that this is going to be a massively long video again. Like, watch this be like 2 hours or something. Before we move on to the next bit though, I do want to give some honourable mentions, because I do have some books that I would love to get to this year if I have a chance. The first ones, because these kind of come as a, you know, you can't separate them. If you watched my last video, you already know, like, we're finishing the All Souls trilogy. I'm obsessed. Thank you, Emily from Waterstones. I need to know how the story ends, what happens, and I don't care that they're big ass chunky books. Like, I'll read them. Like, so Shadow of Night and The Book of Life by Deborah Harkness to finish off the All Souls trilogy. The next one, oh my god, I haven't even taken the sticker off, is Orbital by Samantha Harvey, and she actually won the Booker Prize last year for this story. And look how tiny it is. It's very small. I won't give you the synopsis for this one, or for any of the rest of the like honorable mentions, because obviously we know that they're honorable for a reason. It sounds very good. It won the Booker Prize. I want to know more about it. Next is, I'm probably going to keep that in. The next book is The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice, which is the second book in the Vampire Chronicles. Not last year, the year before, I read Interview with a Vampire for the first time. I have loved the movie with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in it since I was a child. And I finally read the book, which was revolutionary. To me, it was so much better than the movie, which is a big thing. So I want to read The Vampire Lestat, and then I want to read The Queen of the Damned. I had to order this online because I could not find it anywhere. Like, look how actually like well loved and bad this is. So excited. Lestat is my favourite vampire of all time. I love him, Your Honour. So that's all there is to it, really. My poetry collection that I want to read is a collection of Percy Bysshe Shelley poetry, because obviously I'm reading by Mary Shelley, and I know that Percy Shelley's poetry is very well received. So that is, I actually think I lied. I think that's the only poetry book I've got this year. So shut my mouth. The next book is The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. And I was so thrilled when I found out about this, because I love Mary Bennet, and she is the one Bennet sister in Pride and Prejudice who doesn't really get a lot of time. She doesn't get a lot of time. You don't know what happens to her. It's Chonker, by the way. So I really want to know more about this. It's literally just what happens to Mary. It's what happens in Mary's life, and that is enough for me because I love Mary Bennett and she deserves a happy ending. My very last honourable mention is probably quite a surprise one, is Band of Brothers by Stephen E. Ambrose. So late last year, my partner and I watched the series because I have been getting very interested in World War II and the history behind it, and kind of more, I said about this on my best and worst of 2024 about more than what they teach us in English schools about what happened in the war. And Band of Brothers is about Easy Company, who were one of the very first American paratrooping groups, and it's about their story. And the TV show wrecked me. Like, I get emotional thinking about it. Like, honestly, the only reason I initially watched it is because Scott Grimes was in it. Like, and for anyone who knows me, I love that little ginger king. Like, he's funny, he's very sexy, and he can sing. So I was like, wow, Scott Grimes is in it, I'll watch it. And then I watched it and my heart broke into 1,000 pieces, and I don't think I'll ever recover from it. So loved every second of it. Band of Brothers goes into far more detail than the show, and I know that like, because the show was brutal, like some of the stuff that they showed was horrific, and I know that they had to tone it down for TV. So I want to read the book because I know that it goes into more detail. And even though I didn't know these men, like, and you know, like, I wasn't even born. Like, my parents weren't born when this happened. I feel so attached to these men after the series, which is such a weird thing to say. I don't know if that's the autism or if it's just me, but I'm so attached to these men, and I want to know more about what they did, like how they died, you know, with honor and stuff like that, and how they essentially like ended the war. Like, they captured Hitler's eagle nest. You know, so yeah. Band of Brothers by Stephen E. Ambrose. And now, my friends, we will move on to my library picks. So, as you've already seen, I have Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. I have already read and returned the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Anyone who knows me will know I loved that book. I'll give a proper kind of review at the end of the month, but I cried for 10 minutes whilst messaging my friend because it was just so beautiful. Like, it gave me the same feelings as like the Song of Achilles did when it ended, and I was just, I'll talk more about it. But yeah, like, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, definitely like a contender for favourite of the year so far, and it was the first book I read of the year, so that is very promising. That is a good start. The other book I took out and have taken back is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I read 7 chapters and nope. Just no. No, thank you. It's very juvenile and it reads like bad fan fiction. So it's not for me, Jen. So I currently have 4 more books. 5 technically, but one of them is a book club read. I have 4 more books that I have taken from the library that I am hoping to get read within the next like couple of months. And the first one is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. It's another you know, like witchy one. I know that everyone loves it, and it's got witches in it, and that was, I don't know, like, again, look at it, look at the cover. Like, tell me you wouldn't buy it just for the cover. You're a liar. The next book is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Now, I have never read any of the Mortal Instruments series, partly because my partner and I watched the movie and I was a little bit grossed out by the fact that like one of the end spoilers was like, oh, your brother and sister after they kissed, and I was like, I can't go for that. So I wasn't going to read it, but then people told me that apparently that isn't the case. So spoilers if you've not read it, sorry. So I figured I'm going to give at least the first one a go because I don't want to commit to buying the whole series and then not enjoying it Same with Fourth Wing. I didn't want to buy it and hate it. So I'm going to give The City of Bones a chance. See what I think. It might be a DNF. It might not. We'll see. The next book I've got is Black Joy, and it's been edited by Charlie Brinkhurst-Cuff and Timmy Satire. And it is a combination of stories and poems and articles, essays, etc. About Black joy, love, community, identity, and everything between, a celebration of Black joy. I think that as a people, we should all read more by BIPOC authors. We should all read more about the Black experience. And this just sounded really lovely. So giving that a go. And the last book that I just kind of got because I was interested was Here I Stand, Stories That Speak for Freedom. And I think this is actually an Amnesty International release. All royalties go to Amnesty International, who are a fantastic charity, by the way. I will leave a link to their website in the description. They fight hard for human rights all over the world, especially in countries where people have very little of them. So this is a compilation again of stories and poems exploring the human rights we enjoy today and those for which we must fight. And like you can see on the back, there's so many authors. It's not actually that long in the grand scheme of things. So I want to read this. I really freedom is something that everyone should have. Like, human rights is something everyone should have, and I think the more that we educate ourselves, the better. So that's a big reason I read stuff like this. I have a lot of these kind of books at home. A lot of them are more based around kind of like feminism and womanhood and things like that. So I'm very excited to read this one. I love Amnesty International. I love everything they do. I have supported them financially in the past when I was able to. And you should definitely look into them more if you don't know about them. Next up, we have book club reads. So I am in 2 book clubs. The first one is lovely Leah Crompton's book club. I probably mention her in every video, so you know, like, hey babe. And we have a monthly book club, and we also have a bi-monthly classics book club. And our bi-monthly classics book club pick was, let me get the old journal out because I've forgotten. I'm not going to lie. I know it was Clarice Lispector. I just don't remember what it was called. Sorry, Leah, if you're watching. Near to the Wild Heart by Clarice Lispector is our bi-monthly classic. So I've got until at least next month to be able to get that one kind of read and finished. The book we've picked for the month of January, I don't know why I made that so difficult, is The City and Its Uncertain Wars by Murakami. It's my first Murakami, so I'm quite excited about that. It's magical realism. That is all I know. That is literally all I know. Like, she be a thick bitch. This is the Waterstones hardcover. Like, it's just kind of basic, but like the inside is cute, and yeah, I don't really know a lot about it. I try not to, for book club books, I try not to go in with too much knowledge because obviously it's more fun that way, isn't it? So I'm excited to read that one, if I'm honest. So yeah, my first Murakami, we'll see how it goes. And my second book club is a book club called Tales of Tomes. And it was set up by the very lovely Julia on Instagram. She made a post and a lot of us were like, yeah, let's do this. So we set up a Discord, and yeah, I will leave the link to that one below if you wanted to join this one. The first book that we are reading is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And as you can see, I have already started reading this a little bit. I'm having the same issue with this as I am with Fourth Wing, to be honest. Like, it reads very juvenile. Like, I'm very curious about the story. Like, I loved the first chapter. Like, first of all, the map, babe. We love a map. So my initial thoughts were quite good because, like, the first like 6 to 7 pages are like letters, and I thought that was such a beautiful way of doing it. But like, when we actually get into the story, like, it's quite horrific. Do you know what I mean? Like, some of the stuff that happens, and I'm 6 chapters in, which isn't very far in the grand scheme of things, but I will try and finish it for book club. However, I will not stop myself DNFing it if I don't like it, because I'm sick of reading books I don't like. So I know that everyone loves this, but I am having a hard time with it right now just because of the writing and some of the story elements. So I'll keep going. I'll probably give it like to the 50% mark if I can get that far and see how I feel before I DNF. So those are my 2 book club picks that I have, you know, at hand. The last kind of like book section of the video is my kind of like buys for this month. I haven't actually bought a lot. I'm very proud of myself. I have tried to sort of implement a book buying ban. One of my reading goals this year is to buy less than 50 physical books, and I already have bought myself 2. So I don't count books I've bought for other people, because obviously those are gifts and stuff like that. Oh, I've technically bought 3 because the Murakami. So yeah, I've got so many books. Not as many books as I would like, but obviously when we're on the precipice of moving at some point, I can't keep buying books because I have nowhere to put them, and it means more things to move. So I'm implementing that this year. And also I bought, how many books did I buy last year? Like, so I'm saying I bought all of these. Some of these were oh no, I mean, a lot of them were charity shop books and stuff like that. I was going to say some of them were downloaded ebooks, but they weren't, because I've actually got the books I downloaded. I bought, so some of these I paid full price for. A lot of them were cheap on Kindle, or they were from charity shops. I bought 211 books last year. And again, a lot of them were on my Kindle, so I don't feel too terrible, but a lot of them were physical, and I just don't have the room for them right now, not with everything else I have. So yes, just long story short, I'm on a semi-book buying ban. So the books I bought myself were obviously the Murakami for the book club, which doesn't count because it was a book club pick. That's how I'm justifying it. And yesterday I met up with my very wonderful friend Anna, and we love to go to TK Maxx when we meet up, because TK Maxx has some great stuff, you know. And they had a whole collection of like Lord of the Rings kind of inspired books by David Day. This is the Ring Legends of Tolkien, and they had like the Battles of Middle Earth, they had the Heroes of Middle Earth, they had one on hobbits, on the dark kind of like creatures and stuff. It, like, honestly, I would have bought the whole collection, but I bought this one. Like, oh, like, honestly, a lot of it was like the artwork and stuff. Like, it's so gorgeous, like, just absolutely stunning. Like, I claimed that I bought this for my partner, but it was for both of us because I want to read it as well. So yeah, it's going over like centuries of folklore, how Tolkien used a lot of kind of different historical and religious influences in the Lord of the Rings series. So I'm very, very excited to read that at some point. It's not a TBR, it's not like a definite TBR one. It's one of those I will probably just get to when I fancy it, because I'm a mood reader, and that's why I can't do proper TBRs, because I will pick books and then I will hate them and not want to do them. So yeah. And then the second book I bought myself yesterday was The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. So when I was really, really young, the animated movie of The Last Unicorn was one of my favourite films of all time. It scared the shit out of me. If you know, you know. But I didn't know it was based on a book. So I finally bit the bullet and I bought the book for myself, because why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's my favourite as a kid. I want to read the book. It's actually part of a series, which I didn't know. So I'm very excited about that. If you recognise the music, by the way, that I'm using at the end and hopefully the beginning of this video, it's they're going to be instrumental versions of All I Have to Say, which is the title song from the movie. And God, I think it's by Simon and Garfunkel. That doesn't feel right. I'll post like who it is, like, on the screen. But and in the Orville season 3, it was covered by Scott Grimes and Leighton Meester, and that song is probably one of my most played this year so far because I love it. Like, we were watching the episode of The Orville, and every time it played I was like, I know this song. And it was only when they sung the full version at the end I was like, oh my god, this is from The Last Unicorn. So I had a moment about that. I had a moment yesterday when I bought this. I have a moment every time I listen to the song. So The Last Unicorn. If you haven't seen the movie, please do. It's really, really good. It's got Christopher Lee doing the voice of the king, and fun fact, he actually learned German for that so that he could do the voice of the king in the German version as well. So, you know, the more you know. My last book was a gift from my very lovely friend Charlotte, who works in Waterstones. She's one of my Waterstones girlies. Hi to all of the Waterstones girlies, because I know that a lot of them watch my videos. And this is a book I was going to buy for myself anyway. I asked another one of them to put it aside for me because it's so pretty. And then Charlotte bought it for me on her break, which was very naughty of her, but I'm very grateful, so thank you. It is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong, and I think this was mentioned either by Gavin Riesel or by Jack Edwards. I genuinely cannot remember, but this sounds so good. And honestly, I just wanted my first pretty hardcover. This is my first like pretty hardback, and I'm really excited. Like all the rest of you have so many and I don't have any, so I got my set. Like, I wanted this one, so thank you, Charlie. Obviously we've got the cute little pink edges, the inside cover, and then the best bit in my opinion, which is the cat on the front. But yeah, this just sounds really fun. I think it's another kind of like fantasy one, so yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. So once again, thank you, Charlie, I love you. And let's move on to the next part of the video, whatever that is. Please come out because it's gotten really cold in here, so you know, apologies for how that makes my chins look. So I think the next part of the video is going to be just a little look through my reading journal for this year. I won't show you my bullet journal, it's boring. Like the best part of it is like tabs, so I can flick through to the months. I've done up until July so far, so I'm quite proud of myself for that. But I wanted to show off my reading journal because last year I did like really basic like my goals, the format and stuff, and this is how I did my reviews. So like they were just really basic. I just kind of wrote them down, nothing too special about them, and then where is everything? And then I did my quarterly stats at the end of the month, and then I started implementing the books I bought, when, how much, etc, so I could keep a check on that. And then that made me really sad, so I ignore that page now. But this year I went kind of hard. Like, that is the cover. Like, I kept seeing people do these really like stunning journals, and I really wanted one for myself. So a lot of this is really shiny, so I'm sorry if it reflects. But first couple of pages, I've got my goals page, and then I've got my 2025 overview, which is like the number of books I read, the pages, chapters, how many 5 stars I had, how many ebooks I read, audiobooks, paperback, hardback, and how many books I got from the library that I read. And that is for like every month. So I'm excited to kind of keep track of that because I love stats. I like, my story graph is one of my favorite things that I ever got, because pie charts, babe. Like next up we got my TBR cart, which is my 25 for 25, which we just spent an hour doing. And then my cute little bookshelf. I'm not very artistic, so stuff like this I do my best and hope and pray, you know, that's all you can do. So my artistic skills are terrible, however I try my best. Next up we've got my series tracker. As you can see, this is the best one because this is the Wheel of Time one, which is the one I've read most of, and it makes me happy. My format one, which gets really confusing at the end of the year because obviously I will read books and listen to audiobooks, and sometimes my numbers don't add up, and then it confuses me before I remember that, oh no, I have actually just done, you know, what I said I was going to do. Next up, my A to Z of books, which is something I saw people doing last year, which I thought was really fun. And that's just filling out kind of an A to Z of the books you've read, which I just thought was really fun. All of the ones I've read so far start with the, but I'm not counting the. Like, so like my book for tea will not have the at the beginning, because that's cheating in my opinion. And I've got my reading challenge, which is just it's sort of like book bingo, but honestly book bingo kind of scared me a little bit. Like that was frightening. So like some of the goals I picked are read 20 books off my TBR, read a book I started but haven't finished, a book recommended by a librarian, a book by an Indigenous author, read 15 books by women and or non-binary authors, a banned book, etc, etc. So just like to diversify my reading a little bit, because I started getting really good with it last year, but I want to continue that. I want to still read from more diverse authors. I want to read from disabled authors. I want to read from other queer authors. I want to read from the BIPOC community, etc, etc. So I want all voices in my reading this year. So there's that. Battle of the Books, which is one I've seen a lot of people do, which seems so fun. Like you write down all of your favorites for the months, and then they go into like a semi-final and a penultimate final and then the final. Like, unless something blows me away in January, Addie LaRue has already won this month. It's just how it is. Like, I say I don't make the rules, I do make the rules. And unless something beats it, Addie LaRue wins this month already. And I read that within like the first 2 weeks of this month. So, you know, that's good. It's a good start. Next up, we have my ratings, which is just where I can list every single rating that I gave for every quarter. Because I was going to do it again this year how I did it last year, but it seemed kind of redundant when I had the kind of like overall stat page at the very beginning. So I'm just doing it so like that, like this is for me, and then I've got my yearly stats, which is obviously for the end of the year, and that's exactly the same as it was last year. So next up is my favorite quotes. The two top ones are from Addie LaRue, which took me ages to write, and then this one here is from the Gathering Storm, because it just made me laugh and I thought it was really funny. I was really optimistic though, leaving just 2 pages for this, so I'm probably gonna have to stick more pages in, because Lord knows I'm going to have a lot more quotes. It's basically to stop my partner from being upset about annotating books, because it's a point of contention in our house. So I don't annotate around him unless it's on my Kindle. The next maybe like 6 pages are my books bought, because this is frankly just going to be easier than what I did last year. I didn't really think my diary through this year, so last year, so I'm really pleased that I had time to kind of plan it and everything for this year, so everything's a little bit more structured. These are my favorite pages, and these are my book club pages. I'm so proud of them. Like, this is for the Lovers Book Club, for Leah's book club, and then I think 2 pages ahead, 2 pages ahead, I've got the Tales of Tuzon, which is very similarly set up, just because I like consistency. It's the autism. My arc tracker, because one of my goals this year is to read more arcs. I read about 3 or 4 last year, and I definitely want to read more. Like, the one I've read already this year, wild. If you follow my Goodreads and my Instagram, you know what it is, like, wild. Next is my release radar. This isn't something I've ever done before, this is new to me this year, but there have been so many books that I've seen that I'm really excited to just kind of like keep an eye out for, and January had so many we had to flap it. So yeah, these are that's my release radar. I'm very excited for June because the new Lisa Jewell book's out. And then we have my library loans, because as I said, like, I want to use the library more this year. I got a library card last year and I barely used it, and that was on me. So this is like my first like little Dutch door moment, like the first Dutch doors I did in this. I have to use one of the journals with the binders, because I get really stressed out if I have to like rip pages out and everything of like the Archer and Olive ones and stuff, and I don't like it being messy. So I haven't decorated this page yet, but this is for Q1, and so far you can see that like I've got a new kind of like system that I'm doing. So I've got title, author, genre, started, finished, rating, pages, chapters, format, library, because chapters and pages are something that I'm really curious about this year, to see kind of how that all adds up for me, because again, stats, babe, stats. And library is just to know whether or not it was a loan or not, so I can keep that up to date. So this one was for The Invisible Life of Ali LaRue. You can see that one's already been filled out. This is the one for Murakami. Caravel, and this was for my ARC read, which was The Devil's Colony by Marie Lestrange. Wild. It was about the Roanoke colony, and goodness gracious, lads, goodness gracious. But that was a quick, oh, I shook you then, sorry. That's a quick flick through of that. Again, if you want to see my actual journal, I'm happy to do it in a different video, but we're already at 1 hour 21 minutes, so we'll leave it for now. So the last part of this video, and it is actually the last part of this video, is my little, oh Jesus, is my, oh Christ, I'm just throwing everything. It's my cute little stationery haul, because again, like, I'm not very artsy and stuff like that. However, I do love like washi tape and stickers and stuff like that, because that for me is how I'm able to show my kind of creativity, because I can't draw. Like, I am unfortunately one of those creatives who can write, but I can't draw, because apparently I'm not God's favourite. So yeah, so we'll start with the stuff I got from the works, because it was mostly all on offer. Like, just, oh god, this is gonna be so difficult. Right, sorry if you see my gross dermatitis hands, by the way. I'm so sorry. Like, it's cold and it plays up. Like, so first of all, I've got these cute little washi tapes. Not that I need any more. I have a ridiculous amount. Like, I can go through, again, if like seeing all of my stationery stuff is something that you guys kind of are interested in, I'm happy to do that. This one is kind of like Christmas, winter, and the same with that one as well, because I don't celebrate Christmas and stuff, like I said in one of my other videos, but I found that whilst I was trying to do my November and December pages for my last year's bullet journal, I didn't have anything to kind of put in it, so I'm just stocking up early, essentially. The next thing I got is one I got from Amazon, and this is something that has been on one of my wish lists for a very long time, and it is the Claude Monet washi tape. Like, look at this, babe. Like, look how actually stunning it is. Like, some of it's kind of embossed, and like, ooh, like, it's different sizes, and it's Monet, and yeah, it was, honestly, I was so torn. I wanted to get either the Monet or the Van Gogh. Van Gogh's my favorite artist of all time, and like, yeah, it comes in a cute little box like that. Yeah, but the Monet one, it kind of went with one of the themes I was doing. So I will be getting the Van Gogh one at some point. I have everything on my wish lists on Amazon, so I know exactly what I need. Like, my wish lists are just for me, so that I don't forget, because I have the brain of a fish. So you know how it is with trauma. So I went for a little peruse at the Range. A couple of, like, I think this was the third. You'll have seen some clips at the beginning of the Valentine stuff, which galled me. And I got some cute little stamps and stuff for like journaling next year, or like doing the rest of the journal this year or something. Like, stamps just seem fun, but I couldn't find any anywhere. And obviously you can find some really cute ones in charity shops as well, like butterflies and etc, etc. So I just wanted to have some like basic like alphabet ones, and these are typewriter ones as well. Like, I want a typewriter so bad. And I just got like a cute little purple ink pad, because they didn't have a black one. So they do sell a really cute like, it's like this big, just filled with different colored ink pads, so I might get that at some point, but we'll have to see. Yesterday, as I said, I went to TK Maxx with my friend Anna, and I got some cute little paintbrushes, because I have been doing colouring books again, and I've got some watercolours, and I'm really enjoying doing them with those, but the paintbrush that comes with it is really thick, so I can only use it for like the really big pictures. So I wanted some for the really tiny ones, and we do have some more brushes like this, but they're for my fiance's D&D figures, and I don't want to kind of ruin them by using them for my colouring books. So I got these were on offer, $3.99. And then I also got, so these were an impulse buy, because they were pretty. I don't need more pens, but they're so pretty. They're glitter pens. Like, look at this. Look at that packaging and tell me you could resist that. I couldn't resist it. That was also $3.99. My last Amazon pick is... Oh my god, okay, so these are so cute. I wanted some more kind of like writing or book related stuff. So I had a look on Amazon and these are so cute. Like they're these cute little, this one I've used the most of so far. They're these little washi tapes that are like band, and like some of them have writing, some of them have maps, and I know that this one's cute too. This has got like apothecary stuff on it. There's one with music and everything, and the top says X-Files, and I love you, David Duchovny, you know. So yeah, that was my last one from Amazon. And then I honestly, like, the SADS one, and I spent too much money in December on myself, so there's that. So my last little haul that I want to show you is my very first haul from Shawnaci, and I heard about these through, I think, Jashi Corin or one of the other kind of like journal channels that I watch, and it was a whole palaver on my behalf. Like, they were wonderful. Like, it was stressful. It comes in this cute little box, like, and it comes from America, and I got free postage because it was over 29 American dollars, so I didn't have to pay for shipping or anything like that, which is wonderful. And I have changed some of this about, but like, it's all displayed like so cute in the actual box, and I will show you everything. As you can see, I've got a lot of washi tapes. Now the reason for this is I don't have a lot of variety in the washi tapes that I already have, so I wanted a little bit more kind of like neutrality or nature kind of themed, and like I said, I wanted a lot of like the book kind of like writing ones, etc, etc. So this is my first one. This, if I can get it out, like, don't be so difficult. So these are just really cute, like, little thin washi tapes, because I don't have a lot of really thin ones, and these are you can see they're books and writing, and then you've just got some like cute little plain ones at the bottom. And I don't remember prices, but Shawnaci is such good value for money. I will leave the link to them down in the description. For anyone who does this kind of, like, who does like junk journaling and stuff like that, I fully recommend them. Like, their prices are brilliant. I think I paid like 30 something pound for everything, include like, and oh, it was worth it. Like, this one I accidentally bought 2 of. I didn't mean to, but look how cute they are. Like, with all of these, you get different varieties. So like, there were green versions of this, and there are blue versions of this, etc, etc. So there's a lot of variety. I just really liked the purple, and I'm going to use that for a spread at some point. I think maybe September or November, I can't remember. And then I got these little amazing besties. These are all kind of like for the writing journal at some point. Oh, they're just lush. Like, all of them are washi tape, except I think for this one, which is just craft paper. But again, you get a glue stick and you're all right. But oh no, I'm lying, it is washi tape. Shut my mouth. This one is one of my favorite ones I bought, and unfortunately you can't see why, but there are raccoons on this, my friends. And if you know me, you know how much I love a raccoon. I love those little bastards. So that was why I got that one. It's the only reason I got that one, if I'm honest. Like, now this one, I saw someone using one similar. I think it was actually this one that they used. And this is PET tape. Now, I have never in my life used PET tape before, okay? However, the way that I have seen people use PET tape is basically washi tape, but slightly different. The way I have seen people use this has blown my mind, and I want some. That's all there is to it. And they were really cute. So honestly, I could spend a fortune on this website. Like, everything's such good value, and just, oh, so good, so good. I'm really aware we're at like an hour and a half. This one's just like a cute little like flippy book of like blue and lavender and stuff. Just because I realized I didn't have a lot of blue in my colors. Oh, these ones are my faves. I actually bought every single one of these. These are the aroma of books, and as you can see on the back, like, there's typewriters, there's little ink quills and everything, and envelopes, flowers, book stacks, etc, etc. Just because, again, because I obviously went super serious this year with my journals, I didn't realize how little I actually had for themes. So that one was that one. These ones are just kind of cute. These are just kind of like female people stickers. This is actually because my friend Kendra used some in her journal, and they were just so cute, and I was like, I need people. So, you know, when you're an introvert, it's not always that easy. This was another one that I got every single one of. This was the Reading Corner set, and I think both of these cost me around £6 for all of the stickers, and you get so, like, look how, like, it's thick. She be thick. And these ones are so cute. These are basically all the same. They're just different colours, and like they've got bookcases in them and books and sofas and stuff. And I think there's a purple one. I don't have the purple one, but yeah, they all come in like different colours, and like you've got the pink one with like the rounded bookcases and stuff. So like I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 packs of stickers with this. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 washi tapes, and my cute little book of blue. And all of that came to £36, which is such good value. And frankly, for a company like Journal Say, who this is what their main focus is, like they do specifically stuff for journaling, like stickers, washi tape, PET tape, they sell journals, they sell the scissors and stuff you need, they sell the highlighters, the pens, everything. Like, it's basically like Amazon but better, because it's all just in one place. So I would fully recommend supporting them if you can. They do deals all the time. Like, I'm constantly getting emails through with discount codes on. I was really lucky. I got the 10% December discount, but all of their prices are so good. This isn't sponsored, but if you did want to sponsor me, Journal Say, I'm down. But yeah, like, definitely check them out if you are a journaling girly or boy or they. Like, I feel like girly encompasses everyone. Like, I feel like girly is like a gender neutral term. Is it? That I use it as a gender neutral term. I don't know if that's just because I have a lot of drag queen friends, but anyway, that's it. Like, we've been at this for an hour and a half. My fiance is going to wonder where the hell I am. But yeah, that was my little hauls, my 25 for 25, my library bits, etc. So I know that I don't post very regularly, but I'm hoping to make up for it by having like super long videos. So there you go. It's done. We're done. We're good. Happy New Year to everyone, because we are in 2025. I hope that 2025 is kinder to you than last year was, because last year sucked dick. Always be brave. Always be yourself. Fight for people who can't fight for themselves. I love you guys. Bye.